learners, welcome to Education Online program. I'm teacher Regina Massimo, presenting you a lesson in biology for Senior 3 and Senior 4. The topic is respiratory system in animal, specifically in animal. So we shall be defining respiratory system. What do we mean by respiratory system? Respiratory system is a biological system in any living organism that engages in gas exchange between the body and the outside environment. So this is just a simple definition for the respiratory system. Respiratory system is a biological system in any organism that engages in gas exchange between the body and the outside environment. Respiratory system is a biological system in any organism. But when you look at our topic, respiratory system in animals, so animals are not the only living organism. Even plants are living organism. That means even plants, they have a respiratory system. But here in our topic of today, we are dealing specifically with the respiratory system in animals. That's why the definition for respiratory system is defined as a biological system in any organism. And the function of this system, it get engaged or involved in gas exchange. The gas exchange takes place between the body of the living organism and the outside environment. That's why here from the drawing, here we can see this the respiratory system in human being. It representing what? Animal. In respiration, you will see mouth or nose are involved in air drawing. Therefore, we said the air is drawn into the body through the nose and sometimes through the mouth. During respiration, the air, which is this gas, is drawn into the body through the mouth, through the nose, into the body through the nose, and sometimes through the mouth. And sometimes through the mouth. mouth. This during respiration, the air can be drawn through the mouth, through the nose, and sometimes through the mouth. Then the air passes through a series of airways. Then the air passes through a series of airways. This series of airways is referred to as respiratory tract. The series of airways is referred to as a respiratory tract. Referred to as respiratory tract. These are. So this respiratory tract can be divided into two. When we come to look at the structure of respiratory system, which is referred to as a respiratory tract, the respiratory tract can be divided into two parts: the upper parts and the lower parts. Therefore, we look at the structure of the respiratory system. Structures of respiratory system in animal, which is represented by human being. System in animal which is represented by the diagram of human being. We said that the respiratory tract is divided into two parts. The upper respiratory tract and the lower respiratory tract. Upper respiratory tract, lower respiratory tract. So the upper respiratory tract includes some structures, because when we look at this structure here nasal cavity, mouth is here, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, then the two lungs, left lung and right lungs. So the upper respiratory tract include nasal cavity plus the mouth, pharynx and larynx, while the one is starting from trachea, bronchi to the lungs, these are under lower respiratory system. So the upper respiratory system here, it includes nasal, cavity, mouth, because it's sometimes used also in respiration, pharynx, then larynx. These are the structures under upper respiratory tract. While the structures that are under the lower respiratory tract are these: trachea, bronchi, then the lungs. So these are the structures of the respiratory system in animal, which is represented by respiratory system in human. So up to here we are done with the structures of the respiratory system, because we want to see how these structures are positions, or how are they built up to make up for us the respiratory system in animal. Then we come to look at the function of respiratory system. This function is general for all the living organisms, not for human being alone. When we talk about the function of respiratory system, we mean the function for respiratory system in general. So what are the functions of respiratory system? What are the functions of respiratory system? So respiratory system allow gas from the environment enter into the body. Respiratory systems allow gases from the environment to enter the body of living organism. Respiratory system allows gases from the surrounding or from the environment enter into the body. Yes, it allows, because when you look at the nasal and the mouth, these are the two ways that the air can enter through. That's why in the beginning we said the air is drawn into the body through the nose, sometimes through the mouth. There are in some cases you find yourself drawing in air through your mouth. That means you use your mouth to take in air into your body from the surroundings. This function number 1. And when this gas is taken through the mouth or through the nose, reaching the body, this is the time our body cells get oxygen, because the body cannot get oxygen unless the air is drawn, the air that contains oxygen. Respiratory system allows gas exchange to occur at the respiratory membrane. This function number 2, respiratory system allows the gas exchange to take place. Exchange to take place or to occur in the respiratory membrane. Respiratory membrane. Yeah. This function number 2, respiratory system allows the gas exchange to occur in the respiratory membrane so that oxygen diffuses into the blood and carbon dioxide diffuse out of the so that oxygen diffuses into the blood and carbon dioxide diffuses out of the blood. So what do we mean by gas exchange? Because after the air is drawn in, it passes through a series of airways, through pharynx, trachea, bronchi, until it reaches the lungs. So when it reaches to the lungs here, this is where now the gas exchange take place. This is where the gas exchange take place. In this process, the oxygen diffuses into the blood. Then the blood will carry the oxygen to the heart to be pumped and reach the rest of the body parts. After the oxygen is exhausted by body cells, then the carbon dioxide is also brought by that blood back to the lungs here. Then it start diffusing out of the blood to the lungs to be sent out. This is what meant by our respiratory system allows the gas exchange to occur in the respiratory membrane. Here there is a thin membrane within the lungs that facilitate a gas exchange or eases the diffusion of the gas, carbon dioxide and oxygen as well. What's the third function? These are 2 functions. The third function, respiratory system permit gases in the lungs to be removed through expiration. This allows gases in the lungs to be removed out of the body, or out of the lungs, to be removed out through expiration. I've already explained this ahead, because when the air is drawn through the nose and mouth, it passes through this series of air ways reaching the lungs. This is where the oxygen is diffusing into the blood. That blood will be taken to the heart to be pumped into the and reach the other parts of the body. When the oxygen is exhausted, again the carbon dioxide are collected by the same blood and brought to the lungs here. So this lung will be having gas, which is carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide, for it to get out of this lung, it gets through respiratory system. That's why it says here it allows gases in the lungs to be removed out, and this gas from the lungs, when it is removed, will be passing through bronchi, trachea, pharynx until it reaches the nose. The fourth function that the respiratory system protect respiratory surface. It protects the respiratory surface from dehydration, height or change in temperature, and attack by pathogens. Respiratory system, it protects the respiratory surface. Protecting it from what? From the attack by pathogens, these microbes, from attack by microbes or pathogen, and from dehydration. So the nose we are using for drawing in air, or the mouth we are using for drawing in the air, they normally moist. This is a characteristic of respiratory system surface. It's always moist to allow or to facilitate the diffusion of the gases, so that the gas can be absorbed by the body cell. So that's why you'll find the respiratory surfaces are well equipped with some structures like hair. You'll find their hair and mucus. So this one, they trap. They do what? They trap small particles, dust, because the air we are taking in from the surrounding is not totally clean. They are mixed with some impurities. So when we take in all these impurities, it can cause diseases. So this should be filtered out through the hair, or some small particles or some small microbes should be trapped by the mucus, so that the air reaches our body reaches clean. So this is how the respiratory system protects the respiratory surfaces. The last function, but not the least, produces sound for speaking or any type of communication. At the same time, is detect odors. This is the fifth function is the detect odors. So this is the last function, that the respiratory system can detect odors, because we are using our nose for smelling, so they serve as the sense smelling. So we cannot detect the odors unless we use our nose. And nose is one of the structures of respiratory system. That's why detecting odors can be considered under the functions of respiratory system. This respiratory system, we said it produces sound for speaking. Producing sounds. Because the sound, or if we are speaking, we produce sound. This sound comes from all these structures, so it contributes in sound production. Sound production is also counted as one of the respiratory functions. So thanks for listening. Up to here, we are done with the respiratory system in animal and with the functions. We meet next time in